You're in the right place if you love fantasy basketball and you love pretty much basketball. Today, I'm going to talk about some surprise teams that have exceeded my expectations and most likely yours as well. And some teams that have been disappointing and stinking it up or just not living up to expectations because they have some talented players on their team and the wins versus the losses just ain't adding up. All right, y'all, make sure you hit the like button to subscribe to the Score Fantasy Basketball Podcast so you can see more great content for fantasy basketball and your daily basketball content. Let's jump right into it. So this season so far has been surprising. There have been some teams that have simply blown my mind and exceeded expectations. And then there are some teams that have stunk it up or have been lackluster or just not playing well. Some have made some stinky, terrible moves this offseason, and some have made some really good decisions, which has positioned their team to be on my list as surprise teams. And hell, these guys are playing very well. Let's start it off with the Washington Wizards. Now, did any of y'all think the Washington Wizards would be 10-5, the fourth seed in the East to start this season? Hell to the no, no, no. Hell no. But when you look at some of the players that they have on their team, and these are guys who obviously came from the Lakers in that Russell Westbrook trade, these guys have been really good and have made a difference. I mean, I wonder if the Lakers are wanting those guys back, right? Because I don't think the Russell Westbrook, I don't think that that's a good fit. I love Russell Westbrook, but that's not a good fit. But nonetheless, the Washington Wizards, in my opinion, have won that trade because obviously they are the fourth seed again in the Eastern Conference. They're playing some really good basketball. Bill, the one thing I will say about him, he's only averaging 23 points per game this season. The last two seasons, he's averaged at least 30 or more. But nonetheless, the team is winning and they have better offensive players who have been helping Bill secure this number four seed so far. So if the playoffs were to start today, they will be the fourth seed, right? And they have a winning record. And it's not just over 500 or right at 500. They are 5 games over 500. That's right, y'all. That's the five games over 500. And that is good because honestly, I wasn't expecting them to play well. But nonetheless, you got Kyle Kuzma is playing really good basketball. Most nights, even in fantasy, you can start him and be confident that he's going to at least get you 20, maybe even more than that. Most likely more than that. So he's averaging 14.5 points per game and 9.1 rebounds, which means he is getting well over 20 fantasy points in a points-based league. So if nothing else, Kyle Kuzma has won in this trade. He wasn't really playing well for Lakers. His role wasn't, to me, tailored to his strengths. And he's gotten out of LA and he's playing well. And he's probably happy as hell because now he's playing a lot of minutes. He's scoring, which is what he loves to do because that's all he's going to do out there. And he's also rebounding the ball. So that's the good thing of what the Wizards have gotten out of Kyle Kuzma. Not only is he giving you 14, 15 points per game, he's getting you at least 9 rebounds. And I would love to see him step it up and push that to 10 so he can average a double-double. And that would be great for them as well. And good old Montrez, yes, he pretty much was saying, free me. Didn't work out either LA team. It just didn't work out for him in LA. Now he's in Washington and he's playing some really good basketball. This is a better fit for him. And he's averaging 18 points, 8.5 rebounds. Love to see him push that to 10 so he can average a double-double. But there are some nights where he's going to get a double-double and he's shooting a really good percentage from the field. So the Wizards, again, to me, won this trade. They have, obviously, a better record. And we know that with the Lakers, you got Bron out. And I just do not feel that team fits. It just doesn't work. But nonetheless, they have to stick with it. And then a player I talked about a lot before the season started as a sleeper, Spencer Dinwiddie. He's averaging 17 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 6 assists. The backcourt of Bill and Dinwiddie has been really good this year. And you also got to realize that he barely played last season. The Brooklyn Nets could have used him last year, but nonetheless, he didn't play. He got out of BK, and he's playing very good basketball, and he's starting. And that backcourt to me works better than any backcourt that I've felt that Bill has been a part of. So, hands down, the biggest surprise early on in the NBA season has been the Washington Wizards. Never did I think that the Washington Wizards would be 10-5 and in the top four of the Eastern Conference. Again, it is early on in the season, but I still feel like they do have a balanced team, and they're only going to get better because they'll have some players who are really solid players as well returning from injury to help them. So they they made the right move, the best decision for them. Cleveland Cavaliers. Y'all, Cleveland is 9-8. Who the hell ever thought the Cavs would be 9-8? More like 8-9, or maybe even 3-9, or 3-10, or something, just something worse. But nonetheless, they are the eighth seed right now in the East if the playoffs were to start today. Evan Mobley has been really, really good. One of the best rookies as we speak to start the season. Him and Scotty, Evan and Scotty doing a damn thing, and not Scottie Pippen. So y'all, but no, Evan Mobley is really playing his tail off. He's the real deal. He's averaging 14.6 points and 8 rebounds per game, which is really good for a young rookie. He's going to shoot a high percentage from the field, and Cleveland made a good move. They made a good choice this time. I question a lot of their choices during drafts, and I'm sure you have as well, because they've done some crazy things. They've done some things that have you looking at them sideways. I look at them sideways all the time. But nonetheless, I give them 2 thumbs up for this pick. Really good pick. And then Rubio is playing really good basketball. So they have some good players, good young players mixed with some veterans who have been playing well. You got Rubio averaging 14.7 points, 3.9 rebounds, and 6.5 assists, doing Ricky Rubio type things. Going to get you some points, going to get you some rebounds, going to get you some assists, and he's going to possibly throw in a steal or two. So good production from Rubio. And then Jared Allen is playing well. They re-signed him this past offseason. He's averaging 14.2 points and 10.9 rebounds. I do not like the Lauri Markkanen small forward thing. He's not a small forward. I do like Lauri Markkanen, but not as a small forward. So you can't get away long term with Mobley, Allen, and Markkanen in your front court. Okay, so Allen and Rubio, not Rubio, Allen and Mobley, yes, building blocks for your front court. Markkanen's not a small forward, so that's not going to work long term, and he's out anyways. But nonetheless, not a long term small forward. So maybe they'll utilize Markkanen to secure a wing and move forward with your rebuild, because the goal is to get out of rebuild, not to continue to stay in rebuild. But nonetheless, they are playing some really good basketball. Darius Garland is playing well, averaging 16 points, 6.7 assists, playing very well. I still feel like the backcourt of Garland and Sexton is not going to work. They're both undersized. You can't have a backcourt where both of your guards are under 6'4". Not going to work long term, okay? Let's talk about some teams that have stunk it up so far this season. The biggest disappointments, in my opinion, let's talk about the Pelicans. They are at the top of the list. I don't care if Zion has not stepped on the floor yet this season. There is no excuse. The biggest problem is they have made some terrible decisions. Terrible decisions has ruined that team and set them back to where they may end up with the first pick in the draft. Set them back, okay? If I'm Zion, I'm looking at them all the way sideways and trying to get the hell out of there, because they don't know what they're doing, in my opinion, because you don't ever let Lonzo Ball walk. You just do not let Lonzo Ball walk, especially not for what you ended up signing. They thought that they were going to secure Kyle Lowry and make these big old moves. They didn't secure anybody who was going to push this team forward. They should have kept Lonzo Ball, but I thank them because I'm a big Bulls fan, and so I will happily accept Lonzo Ball, and he's playing really well for my Bulls. So kudos to the Bulls for making that move. Not a good move for the Pelicans. Ingram has missed some time. Just not a good team. Not really playing that good of basketball. You know, the moves this offseason were head scratchers. You haven't shown long term that you are a solid franchise. So you can't just assume that you were going to be the franchise that was going to secure certain players who are most likely trying to compete for championship teams. How often has the Pelicans competed for a championship? They were really good, but 1 or 2 years where Chris Paul was there, but no, they haven't showed that they can be a team that is consistent and consistently moving in the right direction. So why would anybody want to go and play who is trying to win? Again, I'm going to chalk this up as okay, yes, Zion is out, but I'm going to put this off on management for making poor decisions. So, very disappointing because when you have a player like Zion and you also have Ingram, you need to make smart moves to help with that rebuild. I didn't like the trade this past off season with Adams. I felt like they should have kept Adams. But nonetheless, they're in charge. I'm over here on the sidelines with y'all, and I know we all got the same thoughts in our minds, like, what in the hell are they doing? But nonetheless, they've got some work. And to me, to continuously drop the ball, it's not good. It just shows it. Not good at all. I got the Milwaukee Bucks on here. Yes, so what that they've had some players that have been out. They are the champions. 8-8. Will they pick it up? I expect them to, but right now, no. Gotta be better. Gotta be better. We know that Middleton was out for some time. We also know that this past postseason, Middleton is very much one of the most important players on that team. Okay, because you see when the Greek Freak was out, Middleton pretty much took over. So Middleton has to be healthy. Greek Freak, he's missing some time. They both have to be healthy and get back to that championship level of basketball. I do expect them to pick it up, but for right now, 8-8 to me is unacceptable for a championship team. But nonetheless, the Greek Freak's gonna pick it up. Okay, best believe it. Another team that has stunk it up and they just stank, the Atlanta Hawks. They've been stinking it up all season. Okay, they're 7-9 and 12th currently in the Eastern Conference. I will tell you one of my biggest issues with the Hawks is they have too many players who play the same damn position. I mean, come on now. They're going to have Nate McMillan on that hot seat. That seat going to be too hot. He ain't even going to be able to sit in the seat when he's coaching because it's going to be hot because they have played poorly. They just haven't lived up to expectations. When you bump Philadelphia in the playoffs and you challenge the Bucks, you are supposed to be better than 7-9. But again, to me, I feel like drafting is a gift and a curse for them. Yes, you are identifying some talented players, but you can't continue to draft players at the same position. It's not smart. It really isn't, because now you got a bunch of players playing the same position. You cannot play all of them. Cam Reddish should be playing much more. Okay. Hunter, he's in and out with injuries. Then you got Gallinari. Who else they got? They got so many players at the same position. It's just ridiculous. Collins, I feel like he's kind of taking a little step back, even though one of my favorites, he's taking a slight step back. Would love to see him pick it up a bit. And it's still early on in the season. So a team like the Hawks can pick it up an extra notch and play much better. But for right now, it ain't happening. It's not working. Okay. You got Herder. They drafted Johnson. I mean, when you look at all this, it's like, yeah, these are pretty much guys who play interchangeable, same position. So they're going to be players who are sitting on the bench, not getting the time, because you cannot play all of these guys. So they're going to have to figure that out, make a move, like really make a move. Okay. Just not working. They're not playing great defense. Teams are shooting a high percentage against them, which obviously you're going to lose game where teams are hitting at a higher percentage and scoring a lot of points on you. You're going to lose games, especially if you're incapable of outscoring these teams, which you can't expect to outscore every team every night. And then the Boston Celtics, yes, they are 8-8. I just think there's something missing with that team. There is. I understand they have a new coach, but it's just something off with that team, and it's been off for the last several seasons. I mean, Jaylen Brown is injured. He has missed the last 8 games, but nonetheless, something just isn't right here. It's just not right. Tatum is doing Tatum things, little 25 points, 8.6 rebounds, 4.3 assists, but none of this is turning into wins. We need to see more wins. 8-8 with a team that has a Jaylen Brown and a Tatum, it's not going to cut it. I mean, you have other pieces. They have other pieces, and to think that they are considering moving Jaylen Brown, I hope they're not considering moving Jaylen Brown, because I feel like he is one of their best players. He obviously is their best two-way player, because Tatum's not going to play offense and defense. Tatum is strictly an offensive player. Brown, on the other hand, is a great offensive player and a great defensive player. They have a lot of good players, but for some reason they cannot pick it up, and they haven't been able to since Eastern Conference Finals a few years ago. So don't know what to say about that, but at the end of the day, something's gotta change. And yes, they may think a trade will be the right move, but trading Jaylen Brown to me will not make them a better team. Those wins will not go up. Maybe once Jaylen Brown returns, they'll win a few more games. I mean, when he was playing, they still wasn't winning a lot of games. So I can't say that his return is going to produce several more wins. I do feel like his return is going to help them, but nonetheless, everybody feels like Tatum is the man. He's going to have to step it up a notch or two. You know, having two great wings like Tatum and Brown, they should be higher in the Eastern Conference, but they are not. You know, and when you think about some of the other players they have, you got Smart, you know, Schroeder, Horford, Williams is having a really good season. Really good season. So they're hitting with some of these players, but it's just not transpiring to win. It's not turning into wins. And they gotta have to hone in and figure out, why is it not turning into wins? Why aren't we producing wins with all of this talent? Again, they're gonna have to be very, very careful trying to make a move to trade, whether it's Brown or Tatum. Obviously, Tatum is probably untouchable to the Celtics, but it'll be a big mistake if they move on from Brown. So they're going to have to be careful with that. Make sure you hit that like button and let me know what teams you feel are the biggest surprise this season and what teams have disappointed the hell out of you this season. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and you have your notifications turned on so you can see more content, more great content. Y'all have a great evening. Peace.